Welcome to Raise Your Self-Image, coming to you from Studio B and Denver Open Media, a public access TV. This is our first episode on December 11, 2010. To my right here is my main man, Craig Hall.
And my main man, Vernon Martin.
All right.
And we came together today because our new show is called Raise Your Self-Image. And we are interested in helping our youth, giving them direction and guidance, and letting them know that the elderly people, I mean, not the elderly, but us, we are concerned about their direction, and we know that we have a lot of youth out there that are doing very well. But we also want to encourage those that are not, and we just want to give them a little direction to go and let them know that if you raise your self-image, you know, you can achieve anything. And as the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So when you think highly of yourself and you have goals set, you can achieve those goals. But set some goals for yourself. But me and Martin came together because he wrote a book called Master the Culture. And I read the book, and one thing I thought was pretty interesting, Vernon, was when you was young and you was in this group and y'all was trying to establish yourself, because coming up in the hood, you know, if you was a rapper or a singer or someone, I mean, people respected you. And so tell me a little bit about your book, you know, because I read it and I thought it was very good.
Well, thank you so much, Craig. You know, the reason why I wrote the book Master the Culture is basically because I was a high school dropout. You know, I had no direction, and I felt that the African-American culture, you know, was guiding me in the wrong direction. But at that time, I thought that culture was guiding me in the correct direction. So therefore, when I was out there doing those things in the so-called streets.
Doing what things?
You know, like just hanging out all night, not wanting to go to school, you know, not thinking that the English language is something that we're supposed to speak fluently. All of those things, you know, was an integral part in me not wanting to be successful in life, you know, doing like in a mainstream sense of what I'm saying as successful.
Okay.
So therefore, Master the Culture is trying to tell the story of how to become successful in a legitimate way, so therefore you can have the tools and the skills necessary to advance yourself in American culture.
Okay, I like that. Because as a role model, who was your role models when you was coming up, you know?
You know, it's funny, like a lot of male role models, you know, I didn't actually have when it comes to being a positive male role model. You know, I had a lot of guys that you know, you would see in the streets and you want to emulate because they had a lot of women, you know what I'm saying? They had some money, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, and
well,
they
we
were,
hope.
You know, and they were rolling around in certain cars and things of that nature. So therefore, those are the people that we emulated. Those are the people that we wanted to become like, except of the person who was doing the hard job every day, meaning being the father, being the spouse, being the uncle, being all of those things, and just going to work every day and doing the hard thing every day. And I feel that this is where we have gotten to today in society, especially in the African-American community, that African-American males, it seems, no longer want to do the hard work. Everybody wants to do the easy thing.
Wow.
And if you only want to do the easy thing, you're going to be left behind, and you're not going to be productive or successful in today's society.
I see what you're saying. I have a young son myself, and I tell him all the time, I've never seen a lazy person be successful. So, you know, you have to work hard, and you have to put your best foot forward. And no matter what adversities come your way, you still have to climb that mountain. You got to get up every day, you know, be positive, and set your goals where, you know, you want to go to school. And like with President Obama, you know, his mom told him all the time that he can make it. He can, you know, he could be the president one day. And by that encouragement that he got from his role model, it helped him reach his goal. And so me and Vernon would like to help y'all reach your goal. And I think that with this society, you want to come out of this culture where you adapt everything that the media set out there in front of you. I mean, by wearing the tattoos, and when I seen in your book, Martin, where when we was growing up, that only people wore tattoos were
jailbirds, like bikers, sailors. Those are the type of people that wore tattoos back then. But now, because of this new culture, which I call a criminal culture.
All right.
You know, a lot of the African-American men are being in prison. I think half the prison population in America, you know what I'm saying, are filled with black bodies.
Yeah.
So therefore, when these men coming out of these institutions are glorified, you know, in our community, so therefore, what's going to happen? People are going to take those examples and say that, no, those are the type of people that we want to emulate. Those are the people that we want to be like. And I say, you know, how much you say that you're not following something, you are following. Because the simple fact of the matter is, you know, I hear people say, well, no, you went and got a tattoo, you're just doing what everybody else do. I say, you are just a sheep. You know, you want to go out and follow, but nobody wants to be the shepherd.
Wow.
And you know what they tell me? They say, oh, no, I'm not doing the same thing everybody else is doing because I got this type of tattoo, or this says my kid's name or my mother's name. But I'm going to tell you this. It doesn't matter what you have on the tattoo. It's all about tattooing. Because when it's come the winter months, right, Craig?
All right.
And check
Come
this
on
out.
with it.
And it's cold outside, right?
Yeah.
We all put on coats, but do we all put on the same coat? We put on the coat that we feel best fit us. So no matter what you say that you're not following, you know, the herd, that's all you're doing is following the herd. All you're doing is just putting on a different coat because the weather is different for different people.
All right.
That's what this whole thing is all about.
So we're saying now, y'all, to raise up your self-image now. Change that. You know, quit sagging, you know, because what is that? What is that showing the people? When you go and apply for a job, that letting them know who you feel that you are at that time.
That's right.
So, you know, you need to go and present yourself well and just stop the sagging. You know, present yourself like you know where you're going and you're going to be successful. So we just want you to continue to strive.
Right.
And then, Vernon, in your book, you also were saying that when you was in this rap group, you know, y'all was doing drugs and this and that, and it was that to, like, to fit in more, or was it just a release of the pain that you was going through at that time?
Well, the thing about it is, when I was out there doing Edge of Elimination, you know, that is, you know, the drug life. You know, you're drinking, you know, marijuana, all of those things is part of the culture. It's what is expected of you. So that's like saying, you know, like when I get 5 or 6 years old, you expect it to go to kindergarten or first grade.
Okay.
Being in the musical group, being in entertainment itself, you know, has its same expectations, you know. So therefore, you become part of that. And you inculcate those things and say, you know what, if I'm part of this, then this is what I must become. Understand? So for me, a person that had some moral type of raising, you know, had some type of discretion on what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So therefore, for me, it wasn't about the boozing. It wasn't about the drugs. For me, I was the writer. You know, I had to make sure that everybody else was in line. So make sure that we get to concerts, onto all these type of things. But people around me have fallen to those cultural understandings of what it is to be a musician or a rapper. And I would like to go back to what you were saying before. When people see a young man or a young woman, and they have tattoos all over their neck, they have pants that's down their waist, they're speaking language that's incoherent to a lot of people who have conquered the culture, understand, you have shown these people that you have given up, that you no longer have a stake in society, and therefore they feel that there's no need to even give you a job.
You know, I agree with you on that because, you know, if you're going to be successful, you need to dress like you're going to be successful. You know, if you're going somewhere, you need to act like you're going to be successful. Because if you don't respect yourself, no one else is going to respect you. So, you know, we just want you to try, y'all. Get out there and stop laying down, making excuses, you know. And that's another reason why I think Martin wrote the book, because we want to see this society, our youth, raise up, you know, because we are in a new era with education and technology, and we just, you know, we want to show you that you can make it. You know, just put your best foot forward. Right. And
because you got to understand that we live in a competitive society. Because of capitalism, that means that everything that you do is based on competition. So therefore, the school that you may want to go to as a freshman only has so many seats in that school. So therefore, how do you get that seat? That means that you got to go and try to work harder than the person that's sitting next to you in class or that person that's down the street.
Okay.
Understand?
Yes.
There's only so many spots on the football team. There's only 32 teams in the National Football League, right?
That's right.
And there's 22 positions. So all of these things are based on competition. So therefore, to meet opportunity when it comes, you must prepare yourself. And the only way that you can prepare yourself is that you have to start thinking straight. You got to get the mind right. You got to understand that the things that's here are not always the best things to do.
That's true.
So I know that you can, you know, kind of reflect on that through some of your childhood understandings of what it is to be a moral man.
Yes. I was brought up with 6 uncles and 4 aunts. And you know, they always stuck up for one another, but we always had to go to the church, and we start serving the Lord. And one of the scriptures that stuck in my mind, and for y'all to understand why me and Martin is here today, is that Jesus said that it was 99 sheep, it was 100 sheep, I'm sorry, and 1 left. So which one did he go after? Did he go after the 1, or he just monitored the 99? He went after the 1, because if we can get that 1 person to just change the way they think, you know, just 1 person, and then that 1 person can influence someone else. But when we was growing up, we always had those uncles or those men that spoke into us and told us, you know, go to school, get your degrees, you know, make something out of yourself. But today, you look in society, you can't find those men nowhere. You know, if you do see them, they're on the corner and they're setting the wrong examples.
Right.
You know, and so we need those men to step out there, because the Bible says, raise up a child in the way that they should go, and they'll come back. So I'm asking you, parents, to please start raising your child, and don't let them raise you because of the way society is going, you know. And Martin, like you were saying with your mom, she was raising you, she was working hard, she was, you know, applying everything that y'all needed, you know, and you just didn't want to let her down. And that's the same thing, our youth, you can't let this society, you can't let us parents down. We want y'all to try harder.
Right. And it's funny, Craig, because fear, it's a demoralizing thing. You know, and for me, I was scared to go out there to try to see if I can win. So therefore, I said, you know, I know that I can write rap lyrics. That's something I can do well. And I put everything I had into writing those rap lyrics. You know, so therefore, when I went out and I presented it to my other group members, because I was the head writer of the group, you know, I knew that they would come to me and say, man, your stuff is whack or whatever. I knew that they would go along with it because they knew that I worked hard at it, and they would want it to be a part of this group.
All right.
So therefore, a lot of people today, you know, when it comes to academics, you know, say, oh, man, that's too tough, man. I can't do that. I can do the easy thing. You know, I can go out and pimp some women. You know, I can sell some drugs. You know, I can do all of these things.
Yeah.
But what you have to understand is that you're hurting your community. The community is very important to any individual who wants to raise a family in a place where everybody can be protected. Yeah. So if you want to make sure that your family is protected from the gang member, from the pimp, and all these type of things, you have to create the type of community that you want yourself and your children to live in.
Right.
So therefore, if you sit and say that I want to be a pimp or a drug dealer or whatever, but I'm going to do it in a respectable manner, there's no way. For the simple fact of the matter is, once you start handing out dope, once you start prostituting people or whatever, it becomes a social thing. Mm-hmm. That means that the only way that this thing can grow and become accepted is that people have to start accepting your behavior on the things that you do. So therefore, if you start this type of domino effect in your community, you're only going to get out of your community what you have put in it. Now, a real man,
that's good, yeah.
A real man
yes.
understands that the community is the most important thing, and he wants to live in a community that will be protective towards his family and the people around him. He wants to build a type of unions in that community that is so self-sustaining that anybody that comes in that place talking any type of ridiculousness about selling drugs or anything will be immediately dismissed from that neighborhood. This is what we have to start understanding about community, about personhood, and about making sure that we protect one another. Because we were talking about several weeks ago about snitching in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And it's funny because, you know, gangs, they tell you that they're your family. But as soon as you do something wrong or you go against them, you know, they want to kill you or hurt you. And then, you know, if something goes on in the neighborhood, you know, everybody's scared and no one wants to snitch. But really, I don't think that's the true situation there.
No, it's not.
So what you think?
Because snitching, it's really funny about snitching.
Yeah.
You know, everybody always sit and say that snitching is some kind of honorable thing to do. How is it honorable to allow your neighbor to be raped by the person down the street? How honorable is it to allow your neighbor on the other side of you to be murdered by the other guy across the street?
Thank you.
There's honor in that of not snitching.
It can't be, man.
The simple fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter who the police officer is. These are our law enforcement.
Yeah.
So therefore, if we want peace and harmony in our neighborhoods, we have to make sure that we will come out with the truth.
Exactly.
See, what people don't understand about keeping it real, it means that we have to make sure that everything is in line for social order. We are losing social order in our community. When our children is no longer scared of their parent or their grandparent, of the neighbors around them, then we are in for a grave danger, brothers and sisters out there, because that is how you make sure that you maintain social order. So therefore now, the community that we come out of is dysfunctional.
Yeah,
it's chaotic. Because nobody has trust and nobody understands what the behavior is from that person to that person. What social order does, it creates predictability amongst people. So therefore, when the little boy comes out of the neighbor's house or the street down the way or whatever, we all know the type of person he is because he's been instilled in with those certain values by our Christian society. Understand?
Exactly.
So therefore, once we lose that, once we become afraid of the child and say, which one of these kids might kill me today? You know what I'm saying? Then we have done something wrong as adults, my friends, because we have to understand that enforcement in the neighborhood is foremost the number one thing that has to happen. Nothing can happen if there's not social order. And now, because social order is out of whack, we now have what? So many deviant young men and women.
Yeah, we do.
And what happens when you have so many deviant young men and women? Society starts doing one thing. It starts creating places for these deviant men and women to go.
And it's a shame that we have
start
so
building
many.
What? Well, we start building
Prisons.
We start building prisons.
Too many.
So, and then you have
no
the
schools. Then they shut down the schools quicker than they can build up a prison.
Why?
It's amazing to me.
Why are they shutting down the schools, correct?
Because I think because of the society, you know, they don't care about the young men, intervention where they can help our young people make the right choices. So they're so in a hurry, and it's all about the money. because they'll rather have the money and lock up a young man instead of giving him an intervention or a program where he can get in and get himself together, get him behind some computers, and help him to develop and have the confidence as a young man to succeed in this society. Mm-hmm. But, you know, they have so many downfalls where they want the youth to fail. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's another reason why we're here today, because we want to raise our youth up. You know, we can't have them, you know, going to prison, and then when they go to prison, you know, they're not getting the education that they need. Then they come back out and they commit another crime. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we want to stop that cycle. That exactly. cycle has to stop. And
right, and I feel with the name of this program, Raise Your Self-Image. The simple fact of the matter is there's too many people, especially African Americans, who have internalized inferiority. And this culture has created people to see themselves as something as less than human. Whenever somebody has given you a name like Negro or the so-called N-word, meaning nigga.
All right, you go ahead.
And you continue to use that word even though it has been legally has been said that this is not the proper thing to do. But when we continue to use these words, it means that we have now internalized being subhuman, being something that is non-white. So therefore, we go out in society and we say, okay, it's okay if we killed, you know, Pee-wee, because Pee-wee ain't even human. Because Pee-wee calls himself the N-word every day.
Yeah.
But, you know, the guy over here that lives in Cherry Creek, you know what I'm saying, who's a doctor or a lawyer, I'm not going to kill him. You know why I'm not going to kill him? Because he's human and he's white. So therefore, because he ain't no Negro.
Right.
Understand? So therefore, we have to understand that the things that we say have meaning. And when we say these things to ourselves that easily, this means that we have got caught up and we have been induced into inferiority. So therefore, how we get out of these things, we got to conquer this culture. And we have to master the culture. Because the only way that you can raise yourself up and make America better for you and everyone around you is that we have to lift up the African-American culture and say some of the stuff that's here has to be.
We need to stop it. We just need to stop it, you know. We know better. When you know better, you do better. And so when you start putting good stuff inside yourself, you're going to achieve. But if you ain't putting nothing good in you, ain't nothing good going to come out. So you need to start putting good stuff in you, and you just need to stop what you're doing. Because like I said before, when you know better, you do better. And one of the sayings I would like to say here is 2 Corinthians, for what it says, for what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? Have nothing. And so God said, therefore, come from among them. Stop doing what you see the world do. Stop imitating these things. God said that he was far from this world, and the world knew him not. So, you know, we need to come from among them and stop adapting their behaviors and the way they think about things, and these tattoos and wearing your clothes this way and being disrespectful. You know, have some respect for yourself, you know, and love yourself. Because when you love yourself, it shows, because then it shows to others, you know. And me and Vernon, we love y'all. We don't know y'all, but we love y'all, and we're reaching out to y'all, and we want y'all to do better because we know that you can, because God didn't create you to be this way. His word says that he had made us the head. So if we're the head, we're above all things. Nothing can come over or against us. And that we have dominion. We have dominion over poverty, hatred, jealousy, envy, greed. We have dominion over those things because he gave it to us. So we are saying, come out from among this world and do what's right and do what the Lord says. The Lord say imitate him. But the key thing, though, Vern, I would like to say is that God said that that this world is his, and if you want something, ask him for it. And if he is the creator of this world, he's the master of it. So if you have a question or you're struggling with something, go to the Father and ask him in the name of Jesus, what should you do in this situation? What should you do in this circumstance? Because if you built a car, you're not going to take it to someone who made a motorcycle and say, can you help me with it? You're going to take it to the master, to the person who made the car. So God created us, and he created us in his image. And so if we are in his image and we are struggling, we need to go to the Father and ask him, what should we do in this instant in our lives? And he'll show us the way and the path, because he said he's the light, and he's the truth in our lives. And that's why I love that Vernon wrote this book, because, if you conquer this culture that society has put you in, you don't have to stay here. You don't have to stay there.
In the place that you're at. So what we really have to understand, people, is that we're coming to you now on a weekly basis. And we are here to answer any questions that you want to, propose to us. We're here to give some type of direction when you're down. I want you guys to understand that everything that's out in this world is a social product. Everything that we see, everything that we hear, the language that we speak is all devised by men. And therefore prostitution, therefore racism and hatred and all of those things can be conquered. Those things can be dismissed out of our society if we choose to.
Yeah.
But we have to want to. That is the most important thing, is that we have to want for these things to go away. Just like there used to be 8-track tapes in society.
Yeah.
You don't see 8-track tapes anymore.
Come on.
You know why? Because there's no value. There's no consumer value for an 8-track tape, because technology keeps growing.
Yes.
So therefore, if we want to keep growing as human beings, we got to stop using the N-word. We got to stop being Negroes. We got to become Africans. Because the simple fact of the matter is, we are the original people on the planet Earth. Nothing else that's here comes before us. We are Alpha and we are Omega.
Yes.
So therefore, to make sure that Omega happens, we have to make sure that we start providing the type of nutrients in our minds, our bodies, and our souls to make sure that we will prosper.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen,
yeah.
today and into the future.
Raise your self-image. And next week we'll have a guest, and we'll discuss some other things that is very important to our communities. And we want to reach out to everyone. Let's let you know that we love you. This is the holiday season. Be safe and know that God is with you. And me and Vernon loves you.
Peace out.